Best Friends for Francis by Russell Hoban. Pictures by Lillian Hoban.
Mom's skinny. I'm skinny.
It was a fine summer morning, so Frances took out her bat and ball. "Will you play ball with me?" said her little sister Gloria. "No," said Frances, "you are too little." Gloria sat down and cried. Frances walked over to her friend Albert's house, singing a song. "Sisters that are much too small to throw or catch or bat a ball are really not much good at all, except for crying." When Frances got to Albert's house, he was coming out with a large brown paper bag. "Let's play baseball," said Frances. "I can't," said Albert. "Today is my wandering day." "Where do you wander?" said Frances. "I just go around until I get hungry," said Albert. "Then I eat my lunch." "That's a big lunch," said Frances. "It's only 4 or 5 sandwiches," said Albert, "and apples, bananas, cupcakes, and some chocolate milk." "Can I wander too?" said Frances. "No," said Albert. "You can't do the things I do on my wandering days." "Like what?" said Frances. "Snake and frog work," said Albert, "throwing stones at fences, looking for crow feathers." "I can do all that," said Frances, "except the snake and frog work." "That's what I mean," said Albert. "I'd have to ruin the whole day showing you how." Then Albert went off to wander, and Frances walked home slowly singing, "Fat boys that eat too much lunch can't do a thing but munch and crunch and play with snakes and frogs." When Frances got home, Gloria said, "Will you play ball with me now?" "You can't bat and you can't catch," said Frances. "I can if you stand close," said Gloria. "All right," said Frances, and she played ball with Gloria. The next morning, Frances went to Albert's house. Albert was playing ball with Harold. "Can I play?" said Frances. "She's not much good," said Harold to Albert, "and besides, this is a no-girls game." "All right," said Frances. "Then I will go home and play a no-boys game with Gloria, Mr. Fat Albert. So ha, ha, ha." Frances walked home, and as she walked she sang, "Boys to throw and catch and bat are all the friends that Mr. Fat Albert will ever have from now on. He will not have me." When Frances got home, Gloria said, "How did you play so fast?" "It was a fast game," said Frances. "You're lucky that you have a friend to play with," said Gloria. "I wish I had a friend." "I thought Ida was your friend," said Frances. "Ida is away at camp," said Gloria, "and she only plays dolls. She never wants to catch frogs." "Can you catch frogs?" said Frances. "Yes," said Gloria. "I can show you how." "Later," said Frances. "Do you want to play ball?" "All right," said Gloria. "If any boys come, they can't play," said Frances, "and I think I will be your friend now." "How can a sister be a friend?" said Gloria. "You'll see," said Frances. "For frogs and ball and dolls?" "Yes," said Frances. "And will you show me how to print my name?" said Gloria. "Yes," said Frances. "Then you will be my best friend," said Gloria. "Will it just be today or longer?" "Longer," said Frances, "and today we will have a picnic. There will be songs and games and prizes, and no boys," said Frances. Mother helped Frances and Gloria get everything ready and packed in Frances's wagon. Frances and Gloria set off. In the wagon were a picnic lunch in a hamper, 2 burlap sacks for the sack race, an egg for the egg toss, and a jar with 2 frogs for the frog jumping contest. Frances made a sign that said, "Best Friends Outing, No Boys." They held the sign and Frances sang, "When best friends have an outing, there are jolly times in store. There are games and there are prizes. There is also something more. There is something in a hamper that is very good to eat. When best friends have an outing, it's a very special treat with no boys." Frances and Gloria passed Albert's house. "What's in the hamper?" said Albert, running out of his house. "I don't know," said Frances. "Nothing much. Hard-boiled eggs and fresh tomatoes, carrot and celery sticks, some cream cheese and jelly sandwiches, I think. Salami, pepper and egg sandwiches, ice cold root beer, watermelon, and strawberries and cream for dessert. There are salt and pepper shakers and napkins and a checked tablecloth, which is the way girls do it. Could I come along on the eating? Said Albert. You mean outing, said Francis. That wagon looks heavy to pull, said Albert. You will get tired unless I help you. I don't know, said Francis. You can see from the sign that this is a no boys outing, and it is only for best friends. What good is an outing without boys? Said Albert. It is just as good as a ball game without girls, said Francis, and maybe a whole lot better. Can I be a best friend? Said Albert. I don't think it is the kind of thing you can do, said Francis, and it would ruin my whole day to have to show you. I can do it, said Gloria. I can be a best friend, and I can catch frogs too. I can catch frogs and snakes, said Albert. Let him be a best friend, said Gloria, and he can show me how to catch snakes. I'll get my snake pillowcase right now, said Albert. Well, I'm not sure, said Francis. Maybe you'll be best friends when it's lunch in the hamper time, but how about when it's no girls' baseball time? When we are best friends, there won't be no girls' baseball, said Albert. All right, said Francis. She crossed off the no boys on the sign. Then they started off again. Albert pulled the wagon, and Francis and Gloria carried the sign. The outing place was at the tree on the hill by the pond. First, Albert caught a snake for Gloria, and then they played games. Gloria won the sack race. Francis won the egg toss. Albert won the frog jumping contest with a fresh frog from the pond, so everybody won a prize. Then Francis made up a party song, and everybody sang it. When the wasp and the bumblebees have a party, nobody comes that can't buzz. When the chicks and the ducklings have an outing, everyone has to wear fuzz. When the frog and the snake have their yearly clam bake, there's plenty of wiggling and hopping. They splash in the pond and the marshes beyond, and everyone has to get sopping. And on the best friends outing, said Albert, everyone has to eat, don't they? Yes, said Francis and Gloria. They opened the hamper. I'm not sure we can eat it all, said Francis. That is what best friends are for, said Albert, and he gave Francis and Gloria a ride in the wagon all the way home. The next day, Albert came over with a bunch of daisies for Francis. What are the daisies for? She said. Well, we are best friends now, and I am a boy, said Albert. That makes me your best boyfriend, so that is why I brought you daisies. Thank you, said Francis. Then Gloria sat down on the steps and cried. Why are you crying? Said Francis. Now you have Albert to be your best friend, said Gloria, and you won't be mine any more. Yes, I will, said Francis, and I will give you half the daisies Albert gave me. So Francis gave Gloria half the daisies, and Gloria stopped crying. Then Harold came over, and everybody played baseball. Gloria, too. The end.